1 in Jackson. Those are the stations of the Alcorn Football Radio Network, and we'll have all the action for you at halftime. We'll talk with Alcorn Athletics Director Derek Horn. He'll join us next week. We'll have interim president Dr. Donzel Lee. He'll join us at the half of the home opener against Louisiana College. And of course, we'll hear from Derek Horn coming up throughout the course of this program a little bit later on. So a lot to talk about. Give us a call, 601-877-6595. You can tweet a question. I'm on Twitter, Tallman Radio. I'm on Facebook, Charles Edmond. You can text a question at 601-348-7254. And you can email a question, cedmond, C-E-D-M-O-N-D, at alcorn.edu. There is a chance of rain in the forecast, scattered showers in Atlanta on Saturday, high of 87. It'll be in the heat of the day, Coach McNair, as we bring you in here. Early kickoff, 12:30 in the afternoon Eastern Time, 11:30 Central Time. And what a way to get it started. And, Coach, I'm sure as we bring you in here, and good evening, you're ready to get it started.
Yeah, it's a good way to wake the morning up, Charles. Early morning football. That's what I'm accustomed to when I play, 11 o'clock start, 12 o'clock start. But, 12:30 start in Atlanta will be great for us, man. And, we had 11 o'clock start one time up in University of Arkansas. So, I think the guys are kind of used to it. They're getting up early in the morning, but we've done some things to kind of put ourselves in a situation where it won't be a big of a bother for us in the morning time, so getting up that early.
For those who don't know, these kickoff times are set by television, ESPN, CBS, all the networks. They set and dictate these kickoff times. So really, unless the game is on, if it's not on TV, then we kind of control, the schools control. But when the game is on television, of course, we have nothing to do with that. And that's why for some of the bigger schools, the SECs and ACCs, those kickoff times for those games in October, November really haven't been determined because the networks determine those things.
That's exactly right. And we have to play the hand we dealt a lot of times, Charles, and that's what we've been dealt. So it's predicated on the TV time and all that kind of stuff. So we're excited about it, and I think the kids are ready to go into the season, and other than beating up on themselves now, and get them opponent with a different color jersey on.
Well, the old coaching cliche this time of year as we get ready for the first game, coaches all over the country, no matter high school, pee-wee, tired of beating up on each other. It's time to get after it.
That's exactly right, Charles. You can tell, in the frustration sometimes at practice, and the kids get tired of just seeing each other every day. And now, the camp is over with, and we got a first week of preparation for Georgia Tech, so we've been doing some things throughout the camp to kind of prepare ourselves for this week against Georgia Tech. So it's going to be exciting, and I think the kids are very excited about playing this game.
How can you tell when it's time to back off your team and start really looking at the opposition, when they're just grinding against each other and it's like, okay, I think we've got this, and now it's time to go after whoever the opponent is? When does that usually kick in and count?
And that's a time of year that when everybody, just kind of feel like it's a grudge and on the teammates and all that kind of stuff, and they want to they choose their battles right there. So, Charles, that's when these guys are tired of fighting against each other, and competing against each other during practice and things of that nature. But it's been good so far. I think the kids they adapt to the heat. We had some 2 o'clock practice during camp and some early morning practice, 6 o'clock practice. But it's been good for us, Charles. And the thing that we're doing as a coaching staff is making sure these guys are prepared to play every Saturday, not only against Georgia Tech, but the rest of our schedule. And I think that we as a staff prepare these kids for week in and week out.
You want that edge, though. You want, this is the time, 5 days before you kick it off, you want to be some edginess, don't you?
Yeah, of course you do. And you can tell and the way the kids work during the daytime and, with school and get down to the stadium and get ready to work during the course of practice. You can kind of tell they're itching a little bit, Charles, and I think that's a good thing for them. And I can see it in their eyes sometimes during practice that they're tired of beating up on one another, and just being out there just to see another opposing team on Saturday would be great for them, just to get that itch off of them.
I know you had your final scrimmage 2 days ago, this past Saturday, down at Jack Spinks Marino Castle Stadium. You told our Cedric Tillman, and I think a lot of people assumed that it was going to be an all-out scrimmage, but you told our Cedric Tillman it was more of a situational scrimmage.
Yes, we did a live takedown scrimmage the Saturday before this one, Charles, and I wanted to put the guys in situations down in distance and certain areas of the field in certain zones and let them compete a little bit. It was not a takedown scrimmage. It was more a third up type deal, but it was more situational for the coaching staff and the players, third down and long and third and short situation for both offense and defense, and also putting the special teams out there in certain situations to execute. But things that we saw as coaching staff during that practice, you take from it, things that we can get better at. We still work in progress. We got 3 more days to get ready for Georgia Tech, so we're going to take advantage of that. And hopefully the kids are understanding the things we're trying to get them to do.
So what really excites you about this team? I mean, you look at all the pieces. We all know what we lost last year. Delance Turner, he had a terrific game the other night against Miami. Lenore's Footman is doing some good things. And Orlando Veals. I mean, we know what we lost. Now we know what we have. What excites you about this team? Here it is, less than 5 days before kickoff.
I guess the biggest thing, Charles, when we started camp, we had 105 young men to start our camp. And that's probably the largest number we had over the course of years I've been here. 105 young men out for camp. And if it could have been more than that, Charles, bringing the camp, we would have had more than that coming into camp. But the NC2A allows 105, and so we had to abide by those rules. But the biggest thing that excites me is the depth that we have developed on this football program, both offense and defense. I think is a big measurement for me is how far what this team could be this year coming up. But more than excitement is the depth of this team.
So of all the years you've been here, this is the deepest that you've seen this team going into the season.
Because we got probably about 18 offensive linemen. We got just about 15, 16 D linemen, and then that's big time stuff, Charles. And when you can do a scout team on both sides of the ball without having to piece with the offensive guys in there, that's big time stuff. And we're able to do that, and we've been having some great practice with the scout team, and they're giving us some good looks. And like I told them today, their job would not go unnoticed. You notice them guys just as much as the first team guys, and they've been doing a tremendous job throughout the whole process of things, Charles. So I'm excited about it.
All right, so we're going to get right into it. We have the projected starters. Get your notepads out. Get your pen and paper ready. If you have questions, give us a call, 601-877-6595. 601-877-6595. You can tweet a question, Tall Man Radio. I'm on Twitter, on Facebook, Charles Edmond. You can text a question, 601-348-7254, as we have already probably an email coming in. We'll get to that. So, of course, join us for the Fred McNair Radio Show. Come talk to us if you have any questions or comments. We'll take a break here, and when we come back, we'll look at the offense. We'll start there, defense, special teams, punt, kickoff coverage, punt, kickoff returns. We'll get to all of that when we return after this 1-minute timeout. The time is 12 minutes after 6 o'clock. Our first break. We'll be back after this.
WPRL 91.7 FM is always trying to stay one step ahead of the curve. And we've done it again with a new and improved website, WPRL.org. It's got all the latest national and local news, as well as your favorite WPRL shows and personalities. From these Worthy to be Praised gospel program with Jay Miles to Jazzy Jazz and R&B with Jamario Brooks, student shows, and of course, all of your Alcorn State University sports broadcasts. You can listen to WPRL.org from your cell phone or tablet, Android or Apple. Just go to TuneIn Radio and type in Life 91.7 WPRL in the search box. Anytime, anywhere, any source, desktop, laptop, cell phone or tablet, WPRL has you covered. For more information, call 601-877-6290. All of this from 91.7 WPRL and on WPRL.org.
And welcome back. 13 minutes after 6 o'clock. Already a couple of tweets. TJ Warren and Mr. T. We'll get to those. Tweet us, Tall Man Radio. I'm on Facebook. Charles Edmond, 601-348-7254. If you want to text a question or if you want to email, CEDMOND, cedmond@alcorn.edu. So a lot of ways to get to us here, and that's each and every Monday night during the course of the season. All right, Coach, let's get into it. We've got the starters here, hot off the press I don't know if it was hot a few hours ago, but it's kind of cooled off right now. All right, let's start at the quarterback position, Coach, because, I've been talking with fans, and, everybody has their own opinion. Noah Johnson, we know what he's done. He's filled in for Lenore's Footman when he's been down. He's been the pitcher in the bullpen. But in the offseason, you heard, and you can kind of confirm this now that we're a few days away from kickoff, that, there was some heat on Noah Johnson, competition with the quarterback position. As we look at the depth chart at quarterback, number one on the depth chart is Noah Johnson. Was there any doubt that he was going to be the starter, or was there some competition there with Felix Harper and Thaddeus Payton?
Well, you always, at that quarterback position, you always want each and every guy to compete for that job, Charles. Whether it's a third-string guy or second or first-string guy, you want a level of competition there. And I thought that the biggest thing going into camp that we saw great signs of Noah leadership, and Felix did a great job of coming in and running offense as well. So at the time, we thought we were developing so much of a competitive position there at that quarterback position. But I think Noah leadership and want to be in that position, I think that kind of edge him out, for as a starter. But Felix Harper, he's a great quarterback. He's a lefty. He throws some real good balls and does some real good things on offense. And he's have really improved over the course of this spring and of course of the summer. All through camp, we showed some great signs. So we're looking for some good things out of both of those young men.
So was there any doubt at all that Noah Johnson would not be the quarterback?
Well, there was no doubt, but I thought we wanted him to be that guy, Charles, and we thought that he could come in and the way he played last year with the game that the Norris missed, he came in and did a great job for us. And he come into camp, you want him to be that guy. And he showed some great stuff, and leadership was one of the things that we looked at with him this year that we kind of edged him out the way he handled things to handle offense.
A lot of people were talking about Peyton. How did he improve his stock during camp?
I think he did a great job as well. Those guys really competed. I think Coach White got those guys up to another level, with the things that he's teaching them at that quarterback position, Charles. And I thought that all of them stepped up to the mic and did a great job over the course of the camp. We're still looking forward to seeing more things out of all of them, and hopefully more improvement in each and every one of them. Just develop more depth in that position. Because it's any time, Charles, at that position there, you're just only one player away in that position. So the next guy has to be ready to play.
Well, who would have thought, if you just go back a few years, everyone thought John Gibbs would take every snap for 4 years, and unfortunately that didn't happen. Lenore's Footman stepped up. Then when Lenore's Footman was handed the baton, everyone thought that when it was his turn, that he would get all the snaps. Lo and behold, unfortunately, he goes down, and Noah Johnson comes in. So you're only, like you said, one play away, and you just never know what's going to happen at that position.
And that's the biggest thing, Charles. In every position that you coach on the football field, whether it's quarterbacks or any position, you have to develop depth. And that's the thing that we have done over the course of the years. And now we got Pat White in over the quarterbacks now, and he's doing an outstanding job at that position, developing these young men. And right now, Charles, I wouldn't be afraid to play either one of those guys. And that's the way I feel about them all. They make some giant steps over the course of camp.
In the backfield, I thought P.J. Simmons looked really, really good in that scrimmage on Saturday. What's the biggest improvement in his game that you've seen from last year to this year?
Charles, it keep improving every year, it seemed to me. And this year is probably going to be even better with the senior year. His vision and his feet, he's just so quick, and I think he see it before it really happened with his vision. He got good eyes, and that's what he run with. He run with his eyes, not his feet. So we always tell the guys that, run with your eyes, not with your feet. But he's done a great job through the course of the camp, and we had a little hamstring issue there before, but he's came back off that, and he's been tremendous throughout the whole camp.
The times that I've been at practice when he wasn't in pads, when he wasn't doing his thing, he was leading the running backs. He was kind of leading that group when he wasn't actively involved, and that shows you his leadership.
With the mission of the Lance Turner last year, this year, Charles, and he took that leadership role at the running back. The senior running back that we have in him, and he took that role, and he want to be right there with those guys when he's not doing things. He want to still be right there with them, and cheering them on, and even during practice, he excited about it. And that's the biggest thing at that position that he brings to the table as well, is being that leader at that running back position.
And then backing him up, Marquise Foreman, a lot of people have been talking about him, and I was impressed with what I saw this past Saturday.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, some of the referees at the game, Saturday was talking about him. They said, Coach, can he really play like that? I said, that's him. He's a little water bug, you know, and that's just the way he is. He got good feet and he's quick. You know, he's not going to give you that 100-yard run, but he's quick. He's gonna put out for you, you know. And hopefully behind him, you got Deshaun Waller, JUCO transfer. He's from Atlanta. He's going back home. So you know, there's those things like that. And he's a big, powerful back. And you're talking about the Lance Turner type of back, but just a little bit heavier than he is. But he can get the job done as well, Charlie.
Then you have Waller. You've got Marsh. Talk about Keymont Marsh and Jamaskin Chapman.
Those guys have been good. Jamarsh, Marsh, he ran the ball for us last year, the mop-up role. We handed off to him a lot of times, and he's a powerful back too now. He's carried the ball very well, and those guys that continue to play, a lot of them probably play special team for us too, Charles. That's the thing that they can do. They dual position guys, and that's going to help us out a whole lot. All
right, so now you got the backfield, the quarterback. Now let's look at the receivers. I understand we had 17 at camp at one point. As we look at the 3 deep here, we've got 12. You got guys back like Rodarius Anderson and Charles Hughes. Of course, a lot expected out of those two as they come off of injury. Talk about one of your own, Tim McNair. Talk a little bit about those three, Anderson, Hughes, and Tim McNair.
I tell you what, Darius got hurt during the Nick State bowl game last year, Charles, and they kind of Nickel State bowl game. Kind of put us on the edge there with that one. And, you know, it kind of came back from it, and I tell you what, he's been very good with it, Charles. He's back in the starting role, and he does some great things. And with his speed and his height, I always say, you tell the quarterback you can't overthrow him, you know. So that's big for him and Darius, and he's done a great job of coming back off his injury. Charles Hughes, he's a steady guy for us, Charles. He got great hands, going to run the perfect route. He's going to be where you at when you call on him. So, you know, I can't say enough about Charles. He's a fifth-year guy, and he's come back actually for his last year, and I thought that was great for him, man, is to come back and be able to play his last year of eligibility out. And Tim, he's done a great job throughout the camp, and we look for big things out of him too. You know, he's a tall, lanky receiver, got good hands as well, so he'll be a redshirt freshman, and looking for some good playing time out of him.
T.J. Johnson. That's a guy that he made some catches last year. I'm really looking forward to seeing how he does this year.
We just got to get TJ in early and get his confidence in early with him. I think that's the biggest thing with TJ, and I think that once that started happening with him, we'll be more excited about TJ. And he does some great things throughout the camp. You know, early success means a lot to him. With some early success, you know, we just can't let him continue to be down on himself. Just got to keep him up, but he's done a great job throughout the whole camp.
A lot of people have been talking about Chris Blair. What excites you about him?
I think what his work habits, Charles. He got great work habits, and not only that, he coming from Hines, right up the street, and he's done a great job, man. And just playing a leadership role as well. You know, he's bringing those guys along, and he's going to be a great guy for us, and he's done some great things throughout the camp as well.
Then you've got Howard and Pringle and Juan Anthony at the slot. Talk about those three.
Those three guys, they're great guys, and Juan Anthony come right down the street from Woodville, and he's done a great job throughout the whole process. He's redshirted last year, and the Charles Pringle got a chance to see their playing time last year. Those guys have been doing good for us too throughout this whole camp, and that's what we're really excited about, Charles. That these young guys at the receiver corps, they're not selfish. These guys come out and compete hard every day. They're doing everything the right way.
Then up front, that's where it all starts and that's where it all ends. With at the tackles, you have McCray and Kevin Hall. Talk about those two.
You know, Chris McCray moved from guard last year. He's going to be playing left tackle for us this year, and as a left tackle, he's a great guy. Actually, he's a graduated senior. You know, he's coming back and finish out his eligibility as well. You know, those guys like that, Chris McCray and Kevin Hall. You know, he's a good guy. And he played very hard. You know, sometimes it's kind of tough, you know, when he start using his hands. We just got to get his hand placement. But Coach Stanchek has done a great job with those guys. And by far, this is the most depth we have at the offensive line position that we had in the past. And I think he's done a tremendous job of getting those guys where they need to be for that offensive line. And that's where it started, Charles, down in the trenches. We got to go to battle with those guys every day. And those guys, we need those guys to get everything started. Even from the center standpoint, Mustafa, great center, he can hold his own. Been doing a great job for us throughout the whole camp. So we're looking forward to having Dante Brooks back. You know, he missed the whole season last year at the left guard. You know, he missed a lot of playing time, and he's back with us now. And right now, just probably have to limit his play. You know, we're just gonna take it easy with him until we get into the conference play. William Gordon, you know, he's done a great, tremendous job for us too. He's a graduated senior, graduated in 3 years, and that's saying as much about these guys, how they respect this team and how they love this university just to come back and play.
You know, with the offensive line, I keep coming back to that Arkansas game a couple of years ago, how it was what we have now is a far cry from that Arkansas game in which we only have 5 offensive linemen and they played every snap in that game. To go from 5 a couple of years later to this, wow, that's saying something.
It's amazing, Charles. It's a strange thing. I just had a team meeting earlier, and I mentioned the same thing to William Gordon. You know, his performance against FBS school, and actually he had to block a first-round draft pick that's in the NFL right now, Demetri Wise, coming off the edge, and he played right tackle for us that game. And I mentioned to him a while ago, you know, just the feeling that he had blocking that guy. You know, just imagine you take that mentality to Georgia Tech, you know, and those things. And I think they will, Charles, and it means a lot to those guys to be able to fight for each other.
So that's the offensive side of the ball here, 25 minutes after the hour. We'll take a break here on the Fred McNair Radio Show. When we come back, we'll look at the defensive side. Cedric Thornton, what does he have in store for his first-year defensive coordinator? We'll talk about the defensive side of the ball. We're taking your call, 601-877-6595. Already have some tweets. You can tweet us, Tall Man Radio. I'm on Facebook, Charles Edmond. You can text a question, 601-348-7254. You can email a question, cedmond@alcorn.edu. We'll talk about next week, clear bag policy. We'll talk about that coming up here, as well as some other stuff as we get ready for our first home game against Louisiana College. And we'll look ahead to Georgia Tech. We'll hear from Athletics Director Derek Horn. We'll get to all of that here on the Fred McNair Radio Show, 626. We'll be back in 1 minute.
A promise was made. A promise that hit the beaches of Normandy. A covenant that split the skies over Berlin. A vow that captured Iwo Jima. A promise was made. A solemn oath that liberated Seoul. A sacred trust that defended Quezon. A pact that dug in Da Nang. A contract that weathered Tet. A promise was made. A pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq. A bond that patrolled door to door in Fallujah. An IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans. A promise we all must keep. DAV fights for all veterans and their families so they get the health care, financial benefits, and support they earn. If you're a veteran who needs help or you'd like to help us keep the promise, visit DAV.org.
All right, 27 minutes after the hour, we talked about it. Alcorn State University will have their first home football game against Louisiana College next week at 6 o'clock. Some changes in store. There will be a clear bag policy that is in full effect. We'll talk more about that, and where you can get your Alcorn clear bags from the foundation. I've got a couple of those clear bags here. And also, Alcorn State University is a smoke and tobacco-free campus. So keep that in mind. Promotion and sale of tobacco products prohibited, and if caught, a $100 fine for each violation. So we want to keep that in mind as we get ready for the first home game next week against Louisiana College, the first of 2 straight home games. Texas Southern comes in after that, and then we hit the road. Don't forget the Georgia Tech game will be streamed on the ACC Network Extra and also ESPN3.com. And ESPN3 really is getting involved, and ESPN Plus is getting involved in a lot of conference games showing online. So we'll talk more about that as we roll along. All right, Coach, let's look at the defensive side of the football. As we have the starters on defense, starting with the ends with Trey Farrell and Creo Argue. Talk about that up front.
Well, Trey is moving from the linebacker position, Charles, and I tell you what, he's done a tremendous job playing defensive end for us now. I think Coach Hart done a great job of developing that young man as defensive end. He gonna reach happy. He's a quick twitch guy. You know, he come off that edge pretty fast. You know, and it's unbelievable. If he just stay upright, Charles, he'll have a lot of sacks this year.
And then in the middle, Bonds and Shippey.
I tell you what, Shimpy is one of the surprising one this year, Charles, and he done a real good job in camp and throughout the whole process, you know. And Teron Bonds is another guy. Teron is a walk-on kid, you know, have developed as a starter for us, Charles. And it's going to be big for us, and just to have the way they've been playing, and I know Coach French stays on those guys about gaps and gap schemes and making the steps and all that kind of stuff. So that's big for him. You know, have those guys inside plugging the hole right there. And Creole, he's a transfer. He's been doing an outstanding job as well. It's going to be exciting to see him play off the edge.
And then in the middle, you got Isaiah Thomas, Solomon Muhammad, who's going to be in the middle in the three, and you have Hollis. Talk about those three.
I tell you what, those guys have done a great job throughout the camp, and you know, I always talk about doing the right things, and a lot of times they get in the way of some of my guys, and probably Alvin would probably be in that middle position starting for a middle linebacker instead of Muhammad. But Braylon Hollis, he's been a steady player, smart guy. I think this is one of the guys that's going to be a force to be reckoned with in the future, Charles.
So you're talking about Alvin Wilson would start in the middle?
Yeah, Alvin's probably going to start in the middle, Charles, and he's from Hines, and he's been doing a great job throughout the whole process, too. He's been making plays for us, and we do have Nakia Harron, believe it or not, Charles. He's been a steady player for us from Memphis, redshirt sophomore. He's been playing very well, and you know, and he's growing up a little bit, you know. And I think that's one of the things that really catch my eye when he make plays, and he's full speed ahead, Charles. You don't have a 50%, you don't have an 80%. He's 100% every day. Walk through it, everything. So he's gonna give you 100%, Charles.
That's 2/3 of the way through the defense. It's bottom of the hour. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. Let's pause for 10 seconds on the Alcorn Football Radio Network.
You are tuned in to WPRL 91.7 FM, broadcasting from the campus of Alcorn State University.
Halfway through the Fred McNair radio show as we get ready for Georgia Tech and Taquan Marshall and the triple option. That's what we're going to be looking at, folks, on Saturday afternoon at 11, Saturday morning Central Time at 11:30. And that triple option, they got an H back, they have an I back, they have an A back, they have a Z back, they have an R back. Am I wrong on that, Coach McNair?
You're right. You're right.
Call the whole alphabet. A
They
Z
got it
back,
all.
an AR back. That's what we're going to be looking at. So we'll be talking about that here on the back end of the show. So 2/3 of the way through the defense, and now let's look at the corners with Wilson and Burks. Talk of Terrence Wilson and Dalen Burks. Talk about the corners.
I tell you what, those guys impressed me, Charles. Dalen Burke come from down there at Perry Road Junior College down there, Charles, and he's done a great job throughout the whole camp. He's a steady player. You know, the thing that we talked about throughout the whole process of recruiting, going out and get some lengthy guys and that were height. And, you know, I thought that the coaches did a great job of finding those guys and identifying them and getting them here to Alcorn campus. You know, but with those guys there, Terrence Wilson, he's been a steady player. And, you know, I told him one day, I said, you can make some money one day, Terrence. You just keep your head straight and do the right things. And that's where all these young men, you know, we always try to teach them the right things to do and hold them accountable for the things that they do. That's the whole process of the coaching staff. With Javen Morris, you know, he's a steady player from last year. Those guys there have been really good throughout the whole camp.
Then the veteran back end coach at the safeties, Quentin Smith and Brady Smith.
Well, Brady Smith is a guy that's going to be kind of tough, man. He's a good safety, probably going to be the quarterback in the secondary. Him and Quentin Smith, those guys have been doing a great job for us back there this whole camp. And Quentin moving from the nickel to the safety, that's going to help him out a whole lot. He's done a great job at that position. And then the guy with the surprising of the camp is Quintario Cole. Charles, I think he had a pick every day in camp just about. He covers some ground, very lengthy guy, and actually he played some nickel last year for us. Putting the guys in a position to make plays, I think that's going to be the key to our success.
So what has impressed you? Let's look at one nugget, offense and defense. What's impressed you? Let's start with the defense. What's impressed you most about the defense and how they've come around with first-year coordinator Cedric Thornton?
I tell you what, the speed to the ball. You know, he gonna rally to the ball. He gonna let you throw that bubble screen and catch it for a 2-yard loss. Those guys are very quick, Charles, and they get to the ball so fast. I mean, they know by the time it's out the quarterback hand, they own it. So that had really impressed me, the way these guys are flying to the ball. Even defensive linemen, the pursuits drill that they do before practice start, we call it TTO swarm, and you should see those guys once they get off the ball and go chasing the ball. Man, these linemen's moving. You got the big guys moving to the ball, and that's the thing that really catches me, Charles, is this defense. They're gonna play fast for Coach Thornton, so they've been doing a great job of doing that.
What about offense? Who's the one guy offensively that no one talked about that could bring the wow factor?
Well, the biggest thing is, and that one guy, you know, we got several of them, Charles, but, you know, I think Chris Blair at the receiver spot will be one of the guys that kind of sparks it all. He's been having a tremendous camp, and he'll be playing the wide out spot for us, and he's a guy that we can move around for us, and I think he's done a great job throughout the camp. And it's so hard to say one guy, but those guys have done a tremendous job throughout the whole process of the camp. And you can't say enough about one without saying the whole team.
So as we transition to special teams, you have McCullough, who did a lot of the kicking duties, so it's safe to say, I remember you were saying throughout the summer that we might have 2 kickers in the fold and not allow McCullough to do all the kicking. Is that the case here?
And that's what we're trying to develop, Charles, throughout the whole thing of camp, and trying to develop some of the things that we can do and take some of the pressure off Corey with his leg, you know, because a lot of time you can overkick a lot of time, Charles, and that hurts you sometimes. With Beto and Josiah's Jeans and trying to work those guys in and get them started to where they can do some of the duties that Corey's doing and take some pressure off them a little bit. But I think that Corey's doing a great job of maintaining his own, you know, and Beto is coming around, and Josiah's Jeans is, you know, he's starting to pick up a little bit. So we're looking forward to some good things from those guys. We can kind of minimize the thing that Corey do and just see how much those other guys can do as far as kicking off and of that nature. But I think we're pretty solid there with those 3 guys on our special.
So come Saturday, who will do the place kicking and who will do the punting?
Well, Corey right now, we do it right now, and then we'll kind of eventually move Beto into it to where he can get some kicks in, hopefully Saturday, and if time permits that way. But Corey will start us off as he's been, and then we'll kind of ease Beto into it.
All right, punt and kickoff return.
But right now we got a by committee charge, and we got some guys back there that can do it. Marquise Foreman is one of them, the left twitch running back. We got Deshaun Waller, you know, he's back returning punts and things of that nature. And we tried some other guys too, Charles. LaShawn Ely, you know, he'll be back there sometime. We're not quite sure the timetable, but I know Marquise Foreman and Deshaun Waller will be returning kicks for us. They've done a great job of doing that throughout the camp.
I saw P.J. Simmons get one Saturday. I don't know if that was just something he wanted to do, or is he in the mix for punt kickoff return?
You know, Charles, I think P.J.'s if he could play offensive line, he probably would play that too, Charles. He's just a happy player, man. I like his excitement. He wouldn't do anything for this team, and that's just the way he is. And unfortunately, you know, you really don't want your starting running back back there returning kicks right now, unless it came down to it. But he won't be back there.
Yeah.
We're gonna save him for the offense, but he does a lot of things for us, Charles. Like I said, if he could play O-line, he probably would.
So those are your starters, folks, offense, defense, and special teams. If you have a question about any of that, comments, give us a call, 601-877-6595. Tweet Tall Man Radio, email cadmin@alcorn.edu. You can text a question, 601-348-7254. We've got some tweets. We'll get to all of that. Coming up here, we'll have the SWAC report. What about Prairie View? They had Rice on the ropes. They lost at the Horn. What about North Carolina A&T winning at Jacksonville State? The SWAC report. We'll hear from Athletics Director Derek Horn. All that coming up here on the Fred McNair Radio Show. The time is 38 minutes after 6 o'clock. We'll be back in 1 minute.
Alcorn State University and the Trademark and Licensing Administration have joined to coordinate the placement of the university marks, both externally and internally, on items including shirts, caps, or other products. The university licenses will only use those products which reflect positively upon the university and are in keeping with the university's mission. The Trademark and Licensing of the Alcorn State University insignia was established to protect the Alcorn State University name and identifying marks. Trademark and Licensing Administration licensed vendors who have obtained permission to use Alcorn State University marks by securing trademark licenses. Campus organizations that want university identifying marks on their internal use products must hire licensed vendors to produce these items. To learn more about the licensing and trademark requirements, visit www.alcorn.edu/trademark and licensing administration.
All right, welcome back here to the Fred McNair Radio Show. 39 minutes after the hour, we've got some tweets. TJ Warren with a comment. Coach McNair, just want to say to you and your coaches, you've done an amazing job with preparing the team this fall and continued success this season. That's from TJ Warren. Mr. T, the Metro Atlanta chapter will be waiting for you come Friday as you roll into Atlanta. We're all tailgating as well. Safe travels. And an interesting question from Mr. T. How did we fare as far as injuries in camp?
I tell you what, it's been pretty good right now, Charles, and I think that what we've done with Miss Jaleesa, she's done a tremendous job with this training staff, Charles, getting our guys ready for camp and getting them up to par now to where we're really healthy enough to travel the guys that just willing to play for us, you know, and I think that's been good. As for health concern, I think we're on track. We don't have anything that's severe other than Brandon Campbell. We lost him again. He's been battling with a whole lot of issues with both knees and now ruptured Achilles during one of the workouts during the summer. So our tight end Brandon won't be with us this year. So he's out again with another injury charge. And I hate it for that young man. That young man, he worked so hard to get back to where he is off those knees, and just to have a Achilles rupture is really tough for him. But hopefully, you know, he'll be able to bounce back from it and have an opportunity again to play. You know, so it's been kind of rough on him right now.
With the depth, and you know, I'm looking at Hard Knocks and looking at stuff going on in the NFL, guys going down. I mean, it's just disheartening when a player's carted off or when a player's lost a serious knee injury or whatever it is. But with football, it's like next man up. I mean, you pray for the guy and you hope whoever is hurt, whether it's seriously or minor, you hope he comes back. But the unfortunate, brutal reality in sports, no matter what level, is next man up. And you talked about the depth of this team. It's with Brandon Campbell, we've called his name a bunch of times, tight end and whatever. Next man up.
Yeah, I know. Our Charge is looking back, you know, and we reflect back on that not too long ago, and in some of our meetings that 2 years ago, we was in the same situation with injuries and didn't know how we was gonna pull this thing off, Charles. We was battling with a whole lot of injuries, man, and we were down to some walk-ons playing, but you know we muscled up as a coaching staff to pull this thing together and was able to win with those guys that we had, despite the injuries. Charge, but you know now I think that a healthy Alcorn Brave football team has really been good for us. You know, the football God has blessed us throughout this whole camp process. You know, and the things we're able to do with these healthy guys and keeping them healthy. And like I said, I can't say enough about our head trainer Jaleesa. She's done a great job of keeping us in treatment and doing the things that get us back on the field. You know, and that's big help for us. Anytime you can get these guys to bounce back from the injury and not let them just sit out just because they got a knee ache or a stomach ache. And that's a big thing for her. You know, she's gonna hold her foot to the fire as well. You know, you going out to practice, you know, you okay. You know, and not just let them sit out for a pinky injury or something like that. She wrap them up and let them go. You know, and that's just the way it should be, Charles. But these guys know the mentality of the game and they know how effective the injury can be, how severe it is, and they know that she won't put them out there if they really hurt.
Yeah.
Charge, and that's the biggest thing about it. But these guys, and they've been very accepting to her the way she handled the whole situation.
In the NFL, I don't know if it's true now, I'm sure it is, but they say you can't make the club from the tub.
And I told somebody that
is it that way at this level?
It's the same way, Charles. You know, even when I was playing back then, we always go in there in the treatment room, and I tell them all the time, you can't make the club in the tub. So, you know, that's a battle cry, man. So it's been good, man. But you know, when I walk in the training room now and I see guys just getting a little ice and stuff like that, I feel a whole lot better. They just ice me down, you know. But it's a true saying, Charles, and that's why, you know, I hate the treatment room, and I don't have anything against guys getting treatment, but if you can stay out of there, stay out of there. It comes to habit.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I talked to the guys today, Charlie. They talking about when they need stretch and they want to go in the treatment room and stretch. No, go in the weight room and stretch. Stay out there training room, man. They go stretch somewhere else. But it's been good for us, man. I think that we've been blessed throughout the whole process of camp, man. That we haven't really had any severe injuries, Charles, that we can't get back from.
Yeah.
Hopefully, when you ready to go to Atlanta, we'll take a healthy football team down there to play against those Yellow Jackets.
Well, we'll do that in about 10 minutes. We'll take a break here. Other news, college football's underway. What about Prairie View, their game with Rice and North Carolina A&T beating Jacksonville State in the FCS kickoff? We'll talk about that. We'll transition and get ready for Georgia Tech. We'll hear from Athletics Director Derek Horn as well. We'll be back in 1 minute here on the Fred McNair Radio Show.
One day, I'll teach chemistry to kids.
I'm going to be an architect.
My dream is to be a chef.
At the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Federal Student Aid, we provide more than $150 billion each year in grants, loans, and work-study funds, making higher education possible for anyone at any stage of life.
I can go back to college.
I can change careers. I can make a difference. Federal Student Aid, proud sponsor of the American Mind. Learn more about money for college at studentaid.gov.
All right.
Another season of Alcorn State University football kicks off Saturday when the Braves travel to Atlanta to take on the Georgia Tech Hornets in the brand new Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Game time 11:30, air time 11. Join your play-by-play announcers Charles of the voice of the Braves Evans and Emmanuel Barnes. Cedric Tibbetts sideline reporting. Catch all the action on WPRL 91.7 FM and WPRL.org.
All right, welcome back to the Fred McNair Radio Show. Everybody's excited about the upcoming season. The Braves are trying to win their 5th straight Eastern Division title. 5 new head coaches in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Got a chance to catch up with Alcorn Athletics Director Derek Horn. He talks about the excitement, his athletic agenda, as the football team gets ready to try to win their 5th straight division title.
Build on what we've done in the past, strengthen the services that we offer our student athletes, and find ways to continue being successful in some areas and improve in others. But I do think that we have a good core of coaches. Our student athletes have done what we've asked them to do and they exceed our expectations. So I think just really working hard to make sure that we can increase, number one, our desires to increase attendance at our men's and women's basketball games, but all of our games as well. But I think when we can get more fans at our games, being a former student athlete, fans just don't really know how much that's appreciated. So that's one of the fan experiences and student athlete experiences that I hope that we can work on to get more people out to support our student athletes. But just to really to build on past successes and improve and go to the next level with all of our sports.
Speaking of past successes, the football program, 4 straight Eastern Division titles, going for number 5 in a row. Let's talk about what that's meant as you crisscross the country and representing and talking about Alcorn athletics.
Well, it has not gone unnoticed. People realize what we've done, the consistency, and also too, I think the thing that helps is when you're on ESPN and those different platforms. Not only do they see the football program, but you have an opportunity to highlight your institution, and not only do they see what we're doing athletically, but academically in the rankings that we do have. So I think from a recruiting opportunity, these past years have been very successful, and I think we'll see throughout this year, particularly in football, the product that we put on, the young men that we are attracting to come in, the coaches that we're attracting to come in, and I think that just keeps building on our consistency.
The winds of SWAC football have definitely changed with 5 new head coaches in this conference, and it just shows you. You and I talked about this before in terms of from the administrative side of athletics, how things can change very quickly. New coaches at Alabama State, A&M, Valley, Prairie View, obviously. So when you look at that, and UAPB, of course, with Cedric Thomas, so it's the winds of change are here in this conference, and every week could be a very big challenge for any team in this conference.
Well, I think what you want to do too is have your conference be very strong. You wanted to make sure that all programs are doing well because there's strength in numbers. So when we are playing better, particularly when we play non-conference games perception of the conference and also the strength of the conference. So, you know, you have to go out and find coaches when you don't think that the job is getting done properly. But I do feel that in the East, I think you have three good coaches. You know, Valley has brought in an enthusiastic young man, and then Alabama and A&M and State both have seasoned coaches. You know, so I think that that's where the East is going to get a little bit more competitive. But I think too, each year we keep building on our successes. So I still feel that we still have the upper hand.
That's Alcorn Athletics Director Derek Horn joining us, and he talked about that, Coach, competition, and what we saw in Week 1, whether at the SWAC level or the FCS level. Let's start with Prairie View. Had Rice on the ropes, kicked a field goal at the horn to win 31-28. Good showing by a SWAC team in Prairie View.
I'll tell you what, that was a close one, Charles. I think Prairie View, they was up 9 with less than 5 minutes to go in the game, and that's just to show you how much special teams plays into football here now, Charles. They had a snap snapped over the punter head, and Rice ready to capitalize on that, and then they held them down to about the 11-yard line. They had a punt, so they're getting up scoring again. So that was the biggest difference in the ball game, Charles, just the special team part. Prairie View had them right there on the ropes.
And then, what about North Carolina A&T winning in the FCS Kickoff Classic at Jacksonville State? Now, Alcorn has played at Jacksonville State before. You talk about a tough environment in Jacksonville, Alabama to play. They live their football over there, and for A&T to do what they did says a lot about HBCU football in the MEAC.
I tell you what, HBCU has been great, Charles, and I love it. I think A&T did a great job. They only had a total of 140-some yards total offense, but they blocked 2 kicks. They forced 4 turnovers, and so that's the biggest difference in that ball game, Charles. And when you can do that as a team, and you subject to come out and win anyway. So that's the difference in that ball game: turnovers and those 2 block kicks.
And of course, this is the opening week in college football, so a ton of games on the slate in the SWAC. Southern playing TCU. You've got Tuskegee at Bama State. That's a huge rival game. Morehouse at UAPB. You talk with Cedric Thomas, who of course was our defensive coordinator. His first game at home against Morehouse in a newly renovated Golden Lion Stadium.
I think he's going to do a great job over there, Charles. I'm not saying that because of the personal relationship we have, but I think that he's a great man on a mission. He got great expectations of his program down there at Pine Bluff, and I think he's going to do a great job down up to the guy.
Miles will be at Alabama A&M. Down in Hattiesburg, USM, Jay Hobson just got another contract, another 4-year deal. That was announced recently. Jackson State playing at USM. Grambling playing at Louisiana, formerly ULL. And University of Texas Permian Basin will play at Texas Southern. So we'll have all those scores coming up next week here on the Fred McNair Radio Show. We'll take a break, our final timeout, 52 minutes after the hour. We're going to talk about Taquan Marshall and the A back and the Z back and the R back and the X back and however many letters that you can come up with. They have them all. And we'll talk about them, as many as we can here in the next 8 minutes. We'll take a break. We'll dig into Georgia Tech and their head coach, Paul Johnson, coming up after this 1-minute timeout on the Fred McNair Radio Show.
A promise was made. A promise that hit the beaches of Normandy. A covenant that split the skies over Berlin. A vow that captured Iwo Jima. A promise was made. A solemn oath that liberated Seoul. A sacred trust that defended Quezon. A pact that dug in Da Nang. A contract that weathered Tet. A promise was made. A pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq. A bond that patrolled door to door in Fallujah. An IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans. A promise we all must keep. DAV fights for all veterans and their families so they get the health care, financial benefits, and support they earn. If you're a veteran who needs help or you'd like to help us keep the promise, visit DAV.org.
We talked about it earlier in the show. Alcorn State University, for all their home athletic events, is introducing a clear bag policy. Those bags will be inspected at the gate as you come in. And every bag must be a clear bag type. And you can purchase an Alcorn clear bag from the Director of Athletic Development There are two types of clear bags that the university is selling, and I've got them both here. They look nice here, Coach McNair. You've got a clear tote, $10, and then you got a clear drawstring tote for $5. Got them right here, nice with the big purple A, clear as a bell. So for more information on how you can purchase a clear tote bag with the Alcorn A on it, with the purple around it, call the Director of Athletic Development, Larry Smith, the Foundation office at 601-877-2470, or you can give them a call at 601-443-1881. The clear totes are $10, and the clear drawstring totes are $5. In the Braves Kids Club for 2018, there are spots available there. You can call 601-443-1881 or 601-877-2470. For more information on the Braves Kids Club, that's been a successful venture for our kids. A lot involved there, so there are slots available. All right, Coach, let's talk about Georgia Tech out of the ACC Coastal Division. Paul Johnson running that triple option, and how many different backs? What's the difference between an A back and a Z back? What's the difference between an X back and a Y back? What's the difference? Well, let's talk about the triple option. What is it, and what's the key to slowing it down?
I tell you what, Charles, you got to be very, very good with your eyes and gap control. And Paul Johnson, he's probably got the longest tenure in ACC coaching history. He's been at Georgia Tech for 10 years, I know, and been 3-time ACC Coach of the Year. He's done a great job with that program, Charles. And I was just speaking with the kids today and talking about he don't use no play sheet. He just got a piece of paper in his hand, and that's what he called from. And they got some great guys, and two of the featured guys is the quarterback,
Marshall.
Taquan Marshall. Last year he carried the ball 247 times and over 1,100 yard rushing, and also the big back, per se, Kervontae Benson. He's a 5'9", 211-pound running back. He carried the ball 204 times for over 1,000 yards. So those two guys is the feature of that offense, Charles. And you can get them to pitch the ball to the other guys. I think we have a pretty good chance of doing that with the scheme that Coach Thornton got built for these guys, and just the way we got to get these kids to play, eyes control and gap control and steps and gaps and all that kind of stuff, Charles. But we slow those two guys right down. I think we have a chance of competing against this Georgia Tech offense with our defense. So, Charles, we got a work cut out for us this week, and it's going to be a tough task for us. But like I told the kids today, we just got to go down with the right frame of mind and compete and play hard and play fast as we've been taught.
What's the difference between the triple option and just the regular option?
Well, there's a lot of things going on different, Charles. This option here is totally different from any option that I've ever played against, Charles. And they got various reads and all those things. When veer, they got belly, they got counter, they can do a lot of stuff out of this option here, Charles. And that's where I say you have to be really good with your eyes as defensive players. So they do a lot of things out of this one. They're a solid team, and they've been doing it for years. And Paul, he don't shy away from it. That's what he do.
The one thing when we played option teams in the past, we get sucked into that run, and then the quarterback fake the handoff, step back, and a tight end or receiver wide open because we're all just sucked in tight. I think that's the other thing you probably have to watch out for.
Yeah, they gonna throw the ball deep. It's not no intermediate stuff. When they pull it, they throw it deep. They gonna run the go route, they gonna run the post route, they gonna run the wheel route, and so they gonna throw the ball deep. When they put it, they gonna throw it deep. It's not put it to throw a stop route.
Yeah.
They gonna throw it down the field. So that's the big play schematically that they do when they run this trip shot. They kind of love you to sleep. And all of a sudden they'll draw you up and hit you for the big one. I hope you have good eyes and our guys do what they're supposed to do in coverage and they cover the receivers.
We talked about the triple option. What about on the other side of the ball? What worries you there on the defensive side?
Well, they got some solid players over there, Charles. First of all, that defensive end, the Armor kid, he's a pretty solid player. Number 94, he's 6'3", 247-pound senior. Then they got the linebacker core, Victor Alexander. Played big for him. They got a Mike linebacker, Mitchell. Those are some solid players, and they call him Lamar Simmons. They're going to be very effective over there, and I think that the coordinator from Appalachian State, Coach Woody, first-year coach down there at Georgia Tech this year, he's been doing a great job at Appalachian State, and now he's going to bring that defensive mentality to Georgia Tech. So we're excited as an offense for this challenge, you know. And I think that we've done a great job as a coaching staff of putting in game schematic stuff to overcome some of the stuff they're going to give us.
Well, Coach, we got less than a minute left. What we just saw this weekend with Prairie hanging tough with Rice and A&T winning at Jacksonville State, why not us? Why not Alcorn going to Atlanta with a big alumni base and turnout and make it happen and get it done against an ACC team as we play up?
And that's why I say, Charles, today in the meeting, we go down there and just take care of ourselves. And we do what we're supposed to do, Charles. That's the biggest thing that's going to come out of this game. It's not about them. It's about what we do as a team. And I think that we got the right mindset right now to go down there and then compete. You know, like we said, we're not going down there just to show. We're going out there to compete with a good Georgia Tech football team. And hopefully anything can happen. You know, we take care of the football, force turnovers. We've seen that before, you know, and minimize our mistakes and just take care of what we're supposed to take care of and let the score dictate itself, you know. We're going to be very, very strong in what we do, offense, defense, and special teams. So, like I said, we got to just make sure we put a good product on the field, a good showing and for what we do, and I think that we will do that.
Well, Coach, let's go get them.
Thank you, Charlie.
That'll do it for the Fred McNair Radio Show. We appreciate all the comments and tweets. Next week, we'll have highlights of the Georgia Tech game, and we'll look forward to Louisiana College. It will be their first game of the year when they come here next week for a 6 o'clock kick. For our producer, Jamario Brooks, I'm Charles Edmond, head coach Fred McNair on the Fred McNair Radio Show. Have a good week. Dress comfortably because it's going to be humid in Atlanta, high of 89 with high humidity. We'll talk to you on Saturday. So long, everybody.